If you're like me, you constantly are following news articles and news stories about school board meetings that have gone completely off the rails. I read one a couple of weeks ago where it was a 9-hour school board meeting fighting over personnel. I read another article about a 7-hour school board meeting fighting over programs and different type of political ideologies and the battles between different school board members. I see over and over and over again split votes between the termination of a superintendent or the termination of an employee. And so much of those board meetings that go off the rails, I feel, are so avoidable. And my heart hurts so deeply as I read these articles to think about what preventative maintenance could have been done in order for a school board to work through some of just the crazy challenges that were presented each and every single month at a school board meeting in public education, and how those problems could have been avoided. And so today I'm excited to really dive into how I work with my school board in hopes to share with you opportunities to build a better relationship so that you and your school board as one team can handle some of the toughest stuff that's out there. Thanks so much for joining me this week, and let's get into Super Insights. To start, I think it's important to always point out the mindset of being a great superintendent. And the first and foremost, most important thing to remember is that you work for the school board. It is not the other way around. They do not work for you. I often always see superintendents who kind of take the persona that they work for the employees or they represent the employees to the board. That is an instant recipe for disaster. You work for the school board, and it is paramount to always remember that you are their one employee and you work entirely in service for them. You are the chief executive officer, and your sole responsibility is to execute the mission, vision, and values of the school board through the strategic plan that was created by the school board, which ultimately represents the community. And so you work for the school board, and the employees are hired by you to execute the mission, vision, and values of the school district. And I think it is so critical that that is object number one. Anything less than that has a recipe for disaster because it leads to knee-jerk reactions. It brings a lot of drama and politics into places that are not necessary. And so if you can start with the mindset that my sole responsibility is to execute the board's wishes, that will instantly set you and your board team up for success. But the school board also deeply, deeply depends on your guidance and frequent communication about issues, decisions, personnel, litigation, expenditures, and innovative ideas is the first recipe for success. Here is an important pro tip from someone who has survived in the same school district for 7 consecutive years now, and that is to do this. Create a no surprises rule between yourself and the elected school board members. Make a promise to the board that they will never be surprised inside a school board meeting or when cornered inside the ice cream aisle at their local grocery store. Now, you may not live in the community where you serve, or maybe you do, but your school board members most certainly do. And people approach them all of the time to share and voice their concerns and or advocation for certain groups, certain teams, certain agendas, and certain big decisions. The best recipe for success is to make sure that they are aware of everything about big decisions, key topics, personnel, and all of the above, and that they know the why behind certain decisions, ultimately giving them the best success to be successful. They like to speak knowledgeably about the hot topics inside the district, and their opportunity to own and deliver key talking points about big decisions not only helps alleviate some of the pressures inside your community, but it also allows them to co-own and be co-accountable to some of the big decisions that come across your desk and their board desk all at the same time. But the no surprises rule is also a two-way street. Your board should also never surprise you in a school board meeting or showing up on campus unannounced or in a school unannounced. I ask my board members to always give me a heads up if they're going to go into a school, speak to a principal, or speak to a teacher. I have several board members who are parents of kids inside our school district, and even when they come in as a parent, oftentimes our employees misidentifies them as a school board member coming into their school, not just a parent. So even when they enter as a parent, they always do such a great job of giving me a heads up that, hey, I'm coming into my kid's school to talk to their teacher, to talk to the vice principal about an issue. And I'm so greatly appreciative of that heads up. So I have the opportunity to follow up if any fallout occurs from a school board member entering into that space. I also ask them to tell me in advance if they're going to make a statement at the school board meeting or advocate for a certain cause or program at the meeting as well. My advanced notice from them allows me to better prepare. So one, I can support them in that statement and give them the opportunity to be successful in that statement. But I'm also prepared with data and information if that statement requires me to give an educated answer and or response into the why or the importance of decisions that are being made or why things are the way they are. The no surprises rule has kept us out of so many jams because we work closely together as a team and we all try very hard to honor that rule. And so I'm so grateful and appreciative when a board member has an issue or an agenda, they give me the heads up prior to making those statements, and so that I'm prepared for that as well. This is a strong recipe and a great strategy for long-term success and health amongst your school board team. So in this episode, we're going to talk about board meeting agenda planning so that our school board is most prepared and we're able to put on a true school board performance. And what I mean by performance is something that is transparent, authentic, and genuine, allowing for a robust school board conversation where the members are prepared, have the opportunity to discuss it, think about it, ponder it in front of everybody so it's not just a rubber stamp. If your board is seeing the agenda for the first time, or if you treat your board as basically a rubber stamp board, you're already doomed for failure. This is where the conflict rises. Our school board want to touch things, feel things, and understand the methodology behind all of the things and the works going on inside your school district. And so the planning preparation is so critical because then it allows them to have a deep understanding about it, but still the ability to speak academically or with knowledge about it on the record in front of everybody. And they have a better understanding of what they're voting for, ultimately allowing them to be able to defend it later when out in the community working with different constituents. So how I start is 2 weeks before the school board meeting, my superintendent cabinet and I have a meeting to start planning for this monthly school board agenda meeting. I just want to share that my executive assistant is the one who runs and leads that meeting. One, it builds co-ownership with my executive assistant. It gives her the opportunity to play a leadership role because she also serves and supports the school board. She's the school board secretary as well as she is mine. And so this is a great opportunity for her to lead this meeting so that as she works with school board members or as she puts the documents together, she has the deepest understanding of what we're trying to accomplish and why. So all of our leaders are at the table and they each provide the necessary things that they would like to share with the board. This is policies to be revised or reviewed, actions that the board needs to take action on. And then after we put all of those things together as a team, we then practice. And the three things that we focus on when practicing our presentations at the school board meetings is to be able to clearly and succinctly, you got to keep it short, but to communicate the what, the why, and the how we're going to execute the things that we're bringing to the board's attention. So now the week before the actual school board meeting, I host a monthly board agenda planning breakfast. And this always includes the board chair and the vice chair, but we also invite a third school board member to participate in this meeting. The cool thing is I'm a part of a 7-person board. And so by keeping it under 4 allows us to do that without having a quorum, but we also take turns with different board members to be that third board member. So really throughout the course of the year, every board member gets at least 2 opportunities to participate in the board agenda planning meeting, and they get to deeply understand how the agenda is made and how we put these things together, allowing for the whole entire team to have a deeper understanding of the work that goes into the process of creating a great school board meeting. Now, here's another pro tip that I think you should try. I always conduct these school board agenda breakfast meetings in the public at a local restaurant. I want people to walk by and shake the hands of our school board members. I want them to be seen doing school board type work out there in the public. I even want our server and the people sitting in the booths next to us to eavesdrop on the board agenda planning and to hear our discussions about the things that we're going to talk about inside those board meetings. One, they might just lean over and ask questions and give us a better opportunity to communicate the what, the why, and the how of some of the big topics. But 2, that gives them the opportunity to go to their friend circles or their groups and be able to say, hey, I actually heard the board planning for this meeting yesterday, and here's what they're talking about, and here's why. And so the benefit of doing this publicly is only all good, and it allows our school board members to be seen being official school board members and doing very good school board work out there in the public. The other tip, a part of just being in the public, is we also make sure that we rotate and go to different local restaurants each and every single month. One, we just want to support local and we want to be seen supporting different groups. But also 2, as you know, particularly in the morning, there are certain groups of people, particularly retired people, who go to their favorite local restaurant each and every single morning with their friend groups to get that cup of coffee, etc. So our ability to rotate to different restaurants around our community also allows us to engage with the locals who are regulars at each and every single restaurant. Awesome process, and that's a pro tip that I strongly recommend to you. Now, once we start the meeting officially at the breakfast, I share with them the agenda that my team has put together and or planned. I discuss the topics that are going to be presented, and I share with them the actions that's going to require their vote. It is very important that I am knowledgeable deeply about all things on that agenda. That's why that meeting with your cabinet is so critical, and that's also why your executive assistant needs to take the lead in fostering that specific agenda so that you can sit there, you can listen, you can process and filter what you think the board will support, but also to have your team bring data to you so that you have a deep understanding, so that when you have this board agenda planning meeting, you have the fighting chance to be able to articulate the why behind why this thing is on the agenda. This also gives me the first glance to look for and identify if there's any concerns regarding the vote count. I have 3 people there. I already have a better understanding of how these actions to vote are going to go in terms of predetermining what that outcome might look like. Nothing is worse than putting something up for vote in the public at a school board meeting to see it get voted down or rejected outright. That is where the tension is created. And so this is such a great opportunity to say, hey, we're going to be coming to you with a health curriculum adoption, a very controversial topic. And your ability to articulate why this curriculum is the best and to see how they feel about those things gives your board meetings a successful chance at putting together action items that you know have the best opportunity to pass. If I were to put something up there, like for example, we had a group that really wanted to invest about $250,000 of general fund money into upgrading our weight room and wrestling room facilities. And there was some concerns early about how much it was going to cost, the type of design, those types of things. And it was in that board agenda planning meeting where the board was telling me, you know, I just don't think you have enough information here. I need more information. And so that gave me, the superintendent, the opportunity to go back to my team and say, hey, you know what? I need to pull this off of the agenda because we have some more work to do in order to satisfy the board's needs. Their communication and feedback to me set me, the superintendent, up for success, but it also set the school board up to success because I didn't just throw some document in front of them at the board night to have them ultimately have to tell me no, creating that unnecessary tension that exists so frequently at school board meetings across the country. To conclude our breakfast, I asked them, is there anything else that they'd like to see on the agenda or be placed on the agenda? An example is maybe it's the end of winter sports season and a board member might say, yeah, you know, I'd love to have the athletic director come and just give an end of winter sports report. Like that's easy and that's awesome. And that gives them the opportunity to feel informed about other things other than just the top level administration stuff. It's the board meeting where we bring those people to give reports to the board. We don't want the board going into the athletic office to get those things. I bring people to them. It shouldn't be the other way around. I also asked them, are there any issues or themes that they might be hearing in the community that they would like their superintendent to address formally at the school board meeting? This is such a great proactive way for us to get ahead of potential issues and for me to speak on behalf of the board about some of the key issues, hot topics, or big decisions that we're working through. And they would love nothing more when there's a big issue that's swirling around in the community to have their superintendent step up in front of them as their defender, as the person who is their lawyer, their representative of the whole unit, to be able to talk and speak directly to an issue or a big theme that's going on inside the community. And so this is that opportunity for them to prepare me if I need to make some type of a statement that best represents the board regarding a certain topic or issue. And then this is also my last chance to make them aware of any groups of parents, activist groups or lobbyist groups or groups of employees who might be attending the board meeting. Nothing is more stressful and brings more anxiety to a school board than when they arrive to see a completely packed house of either angry-looking people or groups of people dressed in unified clothing with signs and all of the above without any type of heads up whatsoever. Remember, our rule is no surprises. And so if I anticipate that one of the key decisions that they're about to make, or if I can anticipate some very stressful topics that are coming across their board plate, I try my very best to make sure that our board is equipped and ready to go, as they're going to receive a multitude of public testimony about a very important decision that they're going to have to make right in front of those people. And so again, no surprises. This is my opportunity to give them all the information that I have to best prepare them for the most successful school board meeting that we could put together for that month. And then once that's finished, we really just finish the rest of the breakfast talking about personal things, talking about family, talking about things that are coming up in their life over the next month, really, and that's just to build connection and rapport. There is a human side to the relationship between the board member and yourself. Remember, you are a person as a superintendent. I know the community doesn't always see us that way, but you're a person too, and so are they. And they have families and they have interests, and this is the opportunity to better get to know your board members so that you can best serve and support them. Remember, you work for them. That's the name of this game, and you always have to have that mindset. And to know them better allows you, their superintendent, to best execute their desires and their visions for their school district, whom the people elected to represent the whole community. Now, after the breakfast is over, I now have 4 people knowledgeable about the upcoming school board meeting. That's myself, the board chair, the vice chair, and the third board member that joined us for breakfast. So when my executive assistant now posts the school board agenda, both publicly and to all school board members, I now have 4 people whose responsibility it is to communicate to the other 4 board members about what's going on, why it's going on, and where we're thinking about decisions through the process. Now, I need to be clear, we do this individually. So as our school board members look at the agenda, if they have a question, they can call the board chair, vice chair, or the third person, or they can call myself. In our state, it's legal. In the state that I serve, it is legal to have one-on-one conversations with the board members. I want to be clear, I do not send to all or call all or work with all about the process. This is an individual by individual basis, ensuring that when that school board night happens, all 7 of our school board members and myself are fully briefed and ready to go to make their best vote and best decision possible. We do not communicate in advance how people are going to vote. We make that vote transparent and public for everybody to see. But at the same time, at least I know that as that vote gets cast, my school board team has the best information available, ultimately allowing them to cast the vote that they believe best represents and reflects the communities that they serve. And so in the next episode, we're going to talk about the actual school board meeting and the execution of a best-in-class school board meeting that is open, honest, transparent, and allows our board members to participate with true and sincere knowledge about the issues that are occurring with no surprises happening. Hey, if you're someone who is struggling with your board right now, or you're feeling the anxieties or the pressures of a board relationship, it is not too late for you to change how you serve and support the board. I really encourage you to try this process, as that will be the beginning of building a deeper relationship with your board and ultimately cultivating a team mentality as you work through some of the toughest stuff. You're doing great. It's going to be okay, but it is not too late to develop a better relationship with your board. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next week.